So if you're still negotiating deals, please go in the hallway. I know we're all really important realtors. We all sell so many houses, but if everybody could please take a seat, and we'll get started. Cool, guys. Well, listen, thank you everyone for coming. I would like to welcome everyone to beautiful Asbury Park, New Jersey. My name is Joe. I work on the Mauz Real Estate Group. Our team is here. We have a mega agent office 2 blocks away. We're here for all your Asbury Park referrals, of course. And I want to thank all these guys for coming up here. A lot of these guys traveled a long way. It's the weekend. Give these guys a round of applause for showing up. So we're all with KW, we come from contribution, and we're here to give back and we're here to learn. And we all know that it's a lot more fun, well, we all succeed together, and it's a lot more fun when we do it together. This job kind of stinks doing it alone, right? So when we come together, we can achieve a lot more. So we're just gonna get started. So we're gonna go down the line here, start with Russ. Everyone, can you guys tell us a little bit about yourself? Your business, your team, your company, how long you've been in the business?
Sure. First off, thanks for having me here. This is awesome. Great space. Really cool idea to get a bunch of people in the room and talk about this. So
I have to stop you. By the way, the space and everything was sponsored by Motion City Media. Frank is coming. So Frank, raise your hand. Everybody, round of applause for Frank. Frank's one of my best friends. True, real life, right? Right? We've had sleepover parties, yes or no? If this guy's not doing your photos, your drones, your Matterport, you're probably doing something wrong. Thank you, Frank. All right, thanks, Russ.
So hey guys, so my name is Russell Putterman. I've been in the business one way, shape, or form for about 16 years. Started in the accounting world. I worked for a medium-sized residential brokerage company, initially doing office leasing, retail leasing, investment sales, kind of learned the resi business also, worked for a developer for a bunch of years, and then started Focus Real Estate as an independent brokerage in 2010. I brought it over as a team to KW at the end of 14. We're a 12-person team. Our hub is in New York City. We have an expansion on Long Island, and I'm a regional owner of Keller Williams Israel.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Dan, please introduce yourself.
Thanks for having me. I'm Dan Mauz. I'm out of the Washington Township Keller Williams Market Center. I got my start back in January 2005 after about 3 years of being with Help You Sell Real Estate. A lot of you guys know about that company, Discount Broker. I realized I needed a lot more in my business if I wanted to take it to the next level. I found Keller Williams out of Cherry Hill, and that's actually where I met Gary. So Gary Mawson, thanks for the relationship that we've built here. So I've been doing this with Keller Williams for over 10 years now. So
it's awesome. Thank you. Jeff.
So thanks for having me on as well. Jeff Quintin, I work in Ocean City, New Jersey, so from Southern New Jersey. We have expansion teams in the greater Philadelphia area as well. Been in the business since 1992, so about 26 years now. And let's see, 11, there's 14 of us on the team right now. I think we got 10 in production, 11 in production, another 4 in admin.
Awesome, awesome. Scott, would you introduce yourself, please?
My name is Scott Shuman. Thank you for having us, Joe. I'm Director of Operations for the Sue Adler Team. We're in the Short Hills, Summit, Chatham, Morris, Essex County, New Jersey area. Team of 25. I've been in the business for 8 years, so since 2010. And talk more about it.
Dave DeVoe, what's up, dude?
What's up?
Say hi to everyone.
Hello, thank you for having me. Dave DeVoe, so my hub team is in Hoboken, New Jersey. I've been in the business for almost 9 years, and we have 6 expansion teams. We're about to launch our 7th team next week. 5 in New Jersey and 1 in California.
Russ, can I ask you, you mentioned something about being the OP of Israel, is that what you said?
Really, an investor in Israel.
Can you tell us about that? You guys want to hear about that, right? My man went to Israel, KW Worldwide. Is that something exciting you guys like to hear about? Yeah, of course.
Sure. So my first MegaCamp with KW was in September of 2014. I wasn't yet a part of KW, and I saw what they were doing globally, looking to expand and push, etc. And I've had a partner in Israel for now the last 14 years, and really he was a conduit to investors, and I was the feet on the street in New York, and he was the feet on the street in Israel, and we would do a bunch of stuff together. But he wasn't a broker or an agent by trade. He was an attorney, he owned businesses, and I knew he had sort of an acumen to take things to another level. So when I was there, initially I remember being in the Hyatt, if anyone knows the Hyatt across the river from the convention center. I remember being in the lobby there and speaking to my partner, analyst, and saying to him, I don't know what it is, but there's definitely something that we could do with Israel. And then, after a bunch of stuff back and forth, yada, 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 we officially launched our first market center there in April of last year, April of 17. We now have 11 market centers and 154 agents as of the end of June.
Dude, that's awesome. So you're an investor in that region.
Correct. Yeah,
Cool.
in the region.
You just brought over to KW, put them in your downline, just let it fly, right?
Yeah, it's cool.
It's easy, right? That's exciting stuff. Thank you for sharing that. There's opportunity everywhere, you guys. Don't leave any stone unturned, right? For sure. I'll start with a conversation, right? So, next question. We're going to go down the line if that's okay with you guys. What is your organization? Well, we kind of talked about that. Let's talk about lead generation, right? So, what does your team do to lead generate, and where do your leads come from?
So we are very heavy OSA lead gen. So we have 2 people on our team that are full-time, full-time on the phone all day long. So they're circle prospecting, they're calling FSBOs and expireds, even though it's a little challenging to get that data in Manhattan. They do that. Open houses we use is a big part of our lead gen. One thing where we can definitely improve is online. With online media, I think we can do a much better job getting more leads there. So we're making an effort this year to go down there.
What do you mean by online media?
Or using social media, driving traffic to our website, using things eerily similar to Boomtown, because we don't have an MLS in Manhattan, so we can't really use product like that. Right. But that kind of thing to generate more leads that are coming in that can come in through our website.
That's awesome. Thank you. Dan, what are you guys doing to lead generate?
So we're very big on prospecting. So we call expireds, FSBOs. Our database that's been the main source of our business was from referrals. That's how I've kind of really built the business over time.
Awesome.
And we'll start the call. I have a part-time ISA who's going to transition out of that role. It's not really working out. Fail forward and find the right person in the role now that I know what that role entails. And I have 4 agents on my team, and everybody has the responsibility of lead generating on a daily basis.
Awesome. Jeff?
Pretty much similar to Dan. Our team is prospecting based. It always has been. It's a discipline. It's a daily schedule. Everybody runs in the same direction. So we all prospect 9 to 12 every single day. There's requirements they made. We call it like TLs have 2, 10, 40. We call it 9, 12, 30. Prospect 9 to 12, 30 contacts a day. That's the standard. That's the minimum standard. That's expectations. That's across the board, including expansion. A lot of accountability around that. And ultimately, our business is coming from our past clients and referrals from them, agent referrals, and expires and several others.
That's awesome. So you said, say 9, 12, 30.
9 to 12:30.
30 contacts, right?
Yeah, 9 to 12 every day, 30 contacts minimum.
That's awesome. I love that. Okay, awesome. Scott?
Yeah, so like everybody else, we're big prospectors, so we are prospecting based, marketing enhanced. That's the way we like to look at it, as opposed to the opposite, which is marketing based, prospecting enhanced. So our goals are one appointment a day. Contacts are awesome. Our goal is appointments create income and cash for the business and for the agents. And we have a big online presence. I think that's something that comes up a lot is kind of the dirty word of paying for leads or paying for business. We look at it as a return on investment, so everything we do is monitored. We look at it for 3 months, so if we try something new, we look at it for 3 months. It either works for us, we're expecting at least 3 times, right? So let's spend $1,000 within 3 months, we gotta get $3,000 out of it. And if it doesn't, we cut it. If it works, and we wanna put more into it, put more into it. If not, we take it out. So what I love about that piece of the business is it's scalable. So I understand that with, say, a Zillow or Boomtown customers, if I spend $1,500 a month in ad spend, I'm going to generate X amount of leads. If I spend double that, I should double my lead flow, right? So it's simple for me to scale the business that way, but still the back end of it is still prospecting our database and circle prospecting, calling for open houses and door knocking and all that fun stuff.
Dave?
I was gonna say the same thing. No, so there's basically, I grew up prospecting based. I shadowed this guy. I shadowed Jeff Quintin maybe 6 years ago. Learned a lot from him. And so with our company, there's really 2 sides to our lead generation. We have the sales side, which is the agents doing lead generation, and our coaches and our director of sales training them and holding them accountable to what they're doing. They focus on lead letters. So our main lead letters are for sale by owner, expired, open house, just listed, just sold, and then probate and divorce. So we're constantly working with them to refine that and hold them accountable to doing that. And then the other side of it is our lead generation department as a company, where a lot of it is ISA based. So we have 7 ISAs, and then we're about to launch 2 other teams of ISAs, and they're doing the majority of outbound right now, doing seller lead generation, and then qualifying those, carrying them over to the agents who are qualified to be in lead flow based on what they're doing on their own in terms of lead generation.
Awesome. So let me ask the audience something. Are you guys hearing anything different than you've ever heard before from these guys? Yes or no? No. That's it. Right? There's those expired, circle prospecting. It's just about doing it, right, guys? It's about, I heard, so some words that stuck out to me were discipline, accountability. That's something I'd like to talk about. So I'd like to go back down the line and ask, do you supply leads to your real estate team? And I want to dive into that accountability. Like if I join your real estate team and you want me prospecting, how do I have to show up? What results do you want to see from me so that I stay in that seat for a long period of time and I'm successful? Yeah, that's a great question. So, we have a few different things that we do for accountability generally on the team. We have a weekly meeting where we'll go through, everyone's 411 on the team, right? We'll go through that. We'll go through a little exercise with, the cash worksheet, if anyone remembers that from, what's a 411? So it's 4 weeks, 1 month, 1 year. So basically you're creating these big rocks, these big goals for the year that you want to achieve, right? 3 to 5 things, and then what are you going to do this month to achieve those goals for the year, and then what are you going to do this week to hit those goals for the month, which will then lead to your goals for the year. And then you take those weekly goals and you put them into your calendar, right? Because if it's not your calendar, it doesn't exist, right? So once those things now go into your calendar and you achieve them, in theory, if you follow your calendar every single day, you'll hit your annual goal.
Thank you.
And then as far as the lead gen stuff, everyone on the team, must prospect every day. We use a program called CTE. It's just a hardcore Excel workbook with a lot of integrated worksheets, and people will log their data every single day. Who they are, how many hours they lead gen, how many calls they made, contacts, appointments, contract, etc. And then we talk about that on a weekly basis to see where they are to go.
Is there a certain number of dials? Like these guys, so I heard Scott mention appointments, Jeff mentioned contacts. Is there a certain Is there a number that you're looking for daily or weekly?
So,
For a full-time agent?
Right. So first off, I'm very much looking forward to how you do it with 30. Because I think that's awesome. I haven't been able to get that highest standard out of my team to date. We're very much focused, and we've been talking more in the 20 range from bold. For me, it's been a challenge as far as a standard to hit on a daily basis.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, you want to talk on this?
Yes, I'm gonna.
Do you give your team leads? Do you give your team leads?
Yes. Yeah. So we run our team really, very much like the MREA model. Everyone's got a lane, right? Buyers, specialists, listing specialists. So whenever the OSAs are doing their thing, even me, when I'm calling my sphere, if I get a buyer lead, it goes to the buyer lead.
Dan?
So all of my agents, I have 4 agents on my team, and each one of them is in coaching. That's a requirement that something I provide for them because the goal setting and the accountability there is a leverage piece for me to be able to have them talk with somebody else because I'm a high S. So for me it's very hard to set that standard and stick to it. I've watched Jeff over the years and applaud him for the standards and the accountability there. Each agent on my team is required to prospect a minimum of 2 hours a day. We strive for 20 contacts. I'm going to say on average, we're not hitting that. Right? So, that's constantly a conversation piece of who you're calling, what's the quality of that contact, focusing on the number of appointments and, being able to convert them into listings or buyers. I do provide leads through Mojo with expires and sale by owners. We also have a whole realty resource where we get a certain call list. So our admin, when we get a listing, it's coming up, she's going to gather that list for them, and then they're going to upload it into Mojo and start the call. And then again, if I get a lead, as a buyer, very rarely am I running with that buyer. I'm going to refer it to one of the agents on the team, but actually they can both list and sell on my team. I don't have this designated buyer's agents list at this point.
Hey, Jeff, can I ask you something? What's your definition of a contact? If someone says wrong number and hangs up, is that a contact?
It's not a contact, no.
Can you tell us what a contact is?
Yeah, it's very simple, just a decision maker. So if you're calling me and you talk to little John, you ask for Mr. Smith, but little Johnny answers the phone, he's 10 years old, my dad's not home, that's not a contact. You need to talk to Mr. Smith, he's a decision maker.
Thank you for that.
That question comes up, right? It might sound really simple, but it's like, what if it's a wrong number? Like, that's not a contact. Come on. So,
Unless you ask them about real estate.
yeah,
Of course. Always ask for the referral, right? What, do you need a realtor? No, click.
So,
Yeah, can you tell us the standards, man, please? What's the secret?
Yeah, so there's a lot of little secrets or little standards in it. So every morning at 8:15 huddle call, everyone has to dial into wherever they are. It's a huddle call talking about 3 things. What is your goal for the day? What is your goal for the month? Where are your relationship to that goal? And then what's your goal for the day and commitments? So that's 8:15 right off the bat. 8:30 is script practice role play. So we want, and standard is everyone have at least 1 role play partner, 5 total, at any moment, any time. And then ultimately by 9 o'clock you're on the phone making 30 contacts. And then we're going to do the same thing as Russell. We don't have CT anymore. We have a different program that's plugged in, but they're reporting their numbers every day and every night. And then the next day, if they don't report their numbers, for some reason they forgot or didn't do it, then they're cut off of all administrative services for the next day. And then they have to also, if they show up late on the huddle call, if they're there at 3 minutes, by 8, say it's 8:15, they show up after 3 minutes, they have to buy lunch for the entire team for that day. Yeah, so there's all these little things in there as far as accountability wrapped around that to make sure that, look, we're going to lead generate. Look, all I want and all I require is that from the time you wake up till 12 noon, we know that's like money time. That's when you're going to make your money. That's when you need to do it. You just show up mentally, physically ready with a good attitude, approach expectations to be, that you're going to get an appointment. And after 12 noon, I don't really care what they do. I mean, I certainly want appointments to present, but if they could just nail that morning time, their production will happen and all their goals will happen.
What if I'm making my 30 contacts and I'm not setting appointments? What happens then?
We're going to have a conversation about why, what has to happen, coaching around that, and try to set up expectations and what's stopping them, what's getting in the way, what distractions are coming up.
Probably a skill thing at that point, correct?
For sure, yeah.
Awesome. Do you want to add, do you give your team leads?
We We do. We give them leads. We also provide a lot of database as well. So not only like, for example, inspired for some others, database there, but successful leads with them. But we go and say, okay, if you want to call them a certain community, provide them all the phone numbers, do the system so calls. We'll figure and find out how to build a database for an agent under different spheres and whatever use that they're involved in or whatever. We'll help them support that. I'll build that. We're going to teach them how to fish every day. Yeah, for sure.
That's the way to do it.
I don't know if it's the way to do it. There's all different models out there, you know what I mean? Some agents are spending a ton of marketing dollars on ad spend, radio, TV, and all that. We're not. We're more positively based than marketing based, like Scott is. And so we're going to teach them how to go fish. We want to make sure that, our hub-based business, it's about 2/3, 1/3. 2/3 of the business is going to be generated by the team, and the leads provided 1/3 on their own. So if they're doing 36 deals, 24 from us, 12 from them.
It's awesome. Thank you for that. Scott.
So, yeah, I think I echo most of what everybody else said. The way that we track this through CTE, we're CTE customers as well. And that just gives us the data. So the way that our accountability program works is Monday and Friday, there's a morning call at 8 a.m. for Uber conference. So it calls out to the agents, huge life changer in our business. No longer do you need to know the PIN and have the excuse that you forgot the PIN or the number didn't work, or it all goes away. It calls them, they pick up the phone, they're in it. And so Monday is reporting, how'd the weekend go, how many appointments did you go on, how many offers are you planning on writing, questions, comments, concerns, right? And then Friday, it's tell us about the week, the offers you said, right? Did they come through? How many appointments did you set this week? How many appointments did you go on this week? What we can look like, right? So if you track all of it, you have all the data from Friday to Monday, you can understand patterns in people's businesses. Additionally, you have the data from CTE, so every week, with brand new agents every week, with experienced agents every other week, we do a 30-minute one-on-one. And so during that one-on-one, we're working on whatever that individual agent needs for their business. So it could be time blocking, it could be leverage, it could just be you don't sit down and make enough calls to get the results that you want, right? But I think the key for us is when we set goals, it's their goals that they're setting, and we're keeping them accountable to their own goals. So I know that there's some businesses where they say, okay, we need to do 100 million, and so you're 20, and you're 20, and you're 20, and you're 20, and then we bang our heads against the wall because we're trying to convince these people to sell $20 million, and that was never their goal in the first place. They're like, dude, you're crazy. I'm never doing that, right? So for us, we do our yearly advance. So in November, at the end of November every year, we go on an advance together and we goal set. The only question I care about is how much money do you want to make in the next year? And then we'll work it backwards. So you want to make $100,000 in my marketplace, that's 10 houses, right? So I'm going to push you, right? So if you're like just, I want to sell 10 houses, I want to sell 10 houses, I'm going to push you from there, right? But I think that's totally different than me going and saying, okay, I need you to do 40 houses because I think you can do it. And then all year I'm trying to hold you accountable to 40 when you were really only trying to do 15. So we look at business planning, and I know this is kind of a different question, but the way we look at it is I want to understand the sum of our parts, right? So before the new year starts, if I understand that as a group we want to do 400 million, and in goals I only have 300 million, and my coach would say, cut that in half, and that's truly what you'll get, then I'm a far distance away from my actual goal. I got to hire a lot of people to get to the 400 million, right? And so that's the way we run our business, and that's the way we projected our growth year over year is just with that simple training technique. And then the accountability comes in because they're accountable to their own goal from the get-go, so it's not my goal, it's your goal. And then I just hold you accountable through 411s and through the CTE program that you're either on pace, below, or above par. So then do I provide leads? Yes, we provide leads, but that's not the value of the business, and I'm upfront with everybody when they join the team about that. So people will join the team and they'll say, well, you're going to give me leads, or they'll ask about how many leads do you generate, or how many leads is it? That's not the value, that's not the right question, right? Yeah, you'll get leads, I'll provide you leads, I'll provide you opportunities. I want you joining our team for the coaching, the accountability, and the opportunity of growth. That's it. If you want those three things, we're the right fit. If you just want leads, or you just want somebody to spoon feed you buyers, we're not the right place, and you might be a great agent, and yet you're not the right fit for us. And that's like a very hard line.
Awesome. Thank you, dude. That was awesome.
Dude.
That was awesome. A lot of that.
Master Scott Shuman, you guys.
Yeah. A lot of what you said is true for us as well, in that we got away from the top-down type of accountability when we decided to go from like me, Dave DeVoe, with a team to growing multiple businesses and treating the agents more like this is your business. So it didn't make sense anymore for me to say, all right, you have to make this many contacts per day or else. Because first of all, like, what are we really going to do? You know, we're going to kick you off the team. But more importantly, it wasn't fun for me to babysit in that way. I'm more interested in getting into business with people who are going to be self-motivated and are going to make contacts based on what their goals are. So we set up our company to be able to reflect that and allow, you know, kind of cross-pollination of accountability between the teams and the agents in the form of contests. So right now we're doing a contest called 30 and 45, which teams of 3, each team is going to take 30 listings in 45 days, 16, so 180 listings in 45 days, and they're like losing their shit. Like they love it. Like they wake up every day, they want to lead generate. We also have a scoreboard that's on a monitor on our intranet. So if they don't hit their numbers, they're at the bottom of the scoreboard. Everybody can see it. It's on monitor in the office. It's on our main page. And we found that it was just more comfortable that way, having them be the ones to provide their own accountability based on how they want to grow. And so we do, our team leaders are having conversations with them weekly, but it's less like, hey, you didn't hit 100 contacts this week, and it's more like, hey, your goal was this, we have 5 months left, so, and if every 100 contacts is a deal, here's how many contacts you have to make for the rest of the year in order to hit your goal, and how do you feel about that?
Hey guys, you getting some value here or what? This is awesome, right?
Can I add something?
Yeah, please.
So I'm a big Tony Robbins guy. I have the stupid bracelet on still. So in Business Mastery, he talks about a really interesting concept that hit home when Sue and I went in January. It's the difference between being a business owner and a business operator. And one of the keys is that if you're a business operator, you have to pull information out of your business versus being a business owner, where the business reports back out to you, right? And so when we design all of our systems, it's all about the automatic information coming to you, as opposed to you having to go in and check on every little piece and say, what are you doing, what are you doing, what are you doing, what are you doing? Because you'll never actually get any growth done, right? That limits you because you have to spend every day holding everyone's hand, versus everyone saying, this is what I did, this is what I did, this is what I did, this is what I did. And then you build a system to get all that information in one spot, you check it, and your whole accountability thing is done in 5 minutes in one day.
That's awesome. Thanks, Scott. All right. So, Jeff, can I ask you a question, please? So you've been in the business since when?
92.
92. So that means that you've been selling real estate for quite some time. You probably have a really big database, huh?
We do. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So how important is that to your business?
It's critical, and that's there was a mindset shift a while back. We said, we're certainly in real estate. We came around, and what we coach upon is we're in a database building business that so happens to be in real estate. So we're always looking for a database.
So let me ask you this. So you've been in business a long time. You have a huge database. There's someone you sold a house to in 1998 that's in your database, correct?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So how many people are on your team? 12, you said?
Yes.
Okay,
There
cool.
are about 11 agents.
So who's calling that database?
Everybody.
So how could these people be calling people you sold houses to? How's that even possible?
Yeah, so they're going to call them, and it's segmented too, and their own database as well.
Can you talk about that, please?
Yeah, for sure. So it's broken up. Ours is a little bit. Well, a lot of people have this A, B, and C. We have it's a different.
We'll talk about it.
Basically, we have.
Can you tell us what an A, B, and a C is in a database?
So we have what we call our top 100 or a VIP client list, but it's not even 100 anymore. It's like 150.
Right.
So that's going to be called once a month. And we have an AA client, which is called every 60 days. We have an A client every 90 days, once a quarter, and then B clients every 6 months. So there's a scheduled out. And everyone, like for example, if an agent comes on our team, let's say they have a 1,000-person database themselves, we're going to break it up for them as well, and then provide them that rotation of calls, so they know who to contact every single day.
How do they call? Is it hand dialing? Do you load them into a dialer? What does that look like?
We put them in a dialer form inside Mojo, but we also give them physical paper so they can hand dial as well.
What if I'm sure this has never happened to anyone here. What if you haven't touched your database in a year or 2 years? what's a good script for that? Or what should I do if I just, maybe I made a bunch of money and I fell asleep and I'm on this part of the roller coaster right now, and how do I re-engage my database?
So two things. One is, you're going to look and see, we're going to track the sources of their business often, monthly, and then we're going to do a mid-year review like we just did in June and say, okay, where's your business coming from? And if part of the business plan says you should be getting 25% of your business or 50% of your business from past clients, and you're only at 10%, well, we know obviously you're not content. So number one, we're going to measure that. Two, if you haven't talked to your database, it's simple. I mean, a lot of people are afraid to call if you haven't talked to them in a long time. Our script basically is, we'll call and say, hey Joe, it's Jeff here. I'm just calling to let you know I'm still in the real estate business. And I apologize, we haven't talked in a long time. Just calling to see how you're doing, what's going on in the house. And if you did have any real estate concerns or questions, I can help answer. It's a very simple one. I apologize, I'm sorry I haven't been in touch with you. Letting you know I'm still in the real estate business. And then I might say, our goal this year is to sell 300 homes, and I'm just curious who I can introduce myself to.
Say it right.
It's so great to see you. I appreciate you calling. Things are good. My brother's looking for a home. We're not attached to not like getting all in the mind. Like I've talked to them over a couple of years, and the reality is you forgot about them, they forgot about you.
Totally right.
You know what I mean? But then when you call them again, stay in touch with them.
That's awesome. Thank you. We were having a conversation, right, Krista? Krista said to me, she's like, what if I haven't talked to my database in like a year? And what did I say? I was like, oh my God, hey Mike, I just realized I haven't called you in a year. By the way, I'm still in real estate,
I'm still in the real estate business, and you gotta always call it a purpose system of value. If you're always coming from a position of who do you know that wants to refer, get referrals or grow referrals. So right now you might be on a call and talk about whatever's trending in the market. The market stats is always easy, or interest rates, or whatever's going on, or let them know what's going on in the community. Did you hear about this? We're sponsoring this, we're doing this, whatever it is.
Is it okay to have a conversation with someone in the database? Are we turning and burning? Can we ask them about their kids, or what does that look like?
Yeah, you want to get deep. I think you want to connect with them more and more, however you can. Stalk them on Facebook, see what they're going on. Say, hey, I saw you on Facebook, I saw you went to, a concert last night or whatever. Just, how was it? What's going on?
It's easy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. In the end, it's just people talking to people. That's it, right? Gary Keller says the best script is hello. What do I say? Just say hello. Don't be a weirdo. And the other thing is, you guys, like someone's like, well, how do I ask for the referral? They know what you do. Real estate's going to come up. They're going to be like, well, what have you been up to? Oh, I had some open houses this weekend. We wrote a couple deals. Like, that's all. It's easy, So, Dave, I'm going to start down there now. So, I'm just going to ask you about the database, because I think what happens is this, and I'd love to hear what you guys think. I'm going off the script here, but I think we give our people, when we have a database, we have a massive database. So a lot of the teams that I'm speaking with, and a lot of agents I'm speaking with around the country, they're saying things like, we're getting in the rut, coming in, running through a dialer, it's all automated, you're like a zombie, you sit in front of this thing, and nothing happens in the end. And then we're getting away from our database and things like that. So, let's go down the line. How important is a database to your business? And do you touch it, and how do you touch it?
Yeah, your database is your business. So if you're not focused on your database, then you're going to have a job for a really long time. The more you can connect with it, the easier it's going to be for you to inevitably step out of production and not have to call the expires and FSBOs. When your business is all coming from the database, it's much easier to leverage that stuff out. So, and I would say not to overanalyze it, not to, I'm going to spend the next 3 months building it out perfectly. Just connect with them. And like Jeff said, apologizing is the most powerful thing you can do. Sometimes it's even better to just say, hey, you're very important to me, and I apologize that I haven't reached out to you in the last 6 months, and I just wanted to call and let you know I'm here to help you. What can I do to help?
Takes it all away, right?
Yeah. What kind of referral can I give to you? And then you don't have to really even ask for the referral. So I think having, starting simple with just calling them once a quarter, and then you can layer in and make it as complicated as you want in the background, as long as you have that connection. And as far as it being automated and mundane, coming in and putting in a mojo dialer, just be okay with that. That's part of it. That's what you have to do.
Scott, database, is that important?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Database is your business. I mean, if you don't have a good database or you don't know where your database is, then you don't really have a business. You're going to just continue to sell a bunch of rental homes. Look at REO guys, right? Look at those people that were selling 1,000 homes a year, and they didn't keep track of anybody who bought them or where they are now, and now they have no business. Now, luckily, it looks like the market might come back to them, and they might get some of that back. But the reality is, a lot of them are out of business now. They went from $100 million to $5 million just because they didn't keep a database. So I think it's crucial. One of the things that we do amongst the things that everybody else is doing, I think, is Gary talks about giving back, right, and giving value to the community. So we developed this thing called the 100th Home Sale Program. And the 100th Home Sale Program, we donate, long and short of it is we donate $20,000 to 6 local charities as voted upon by the community. This year we're over 40,000 votes in the past 3 months, so the community involvement is pretty large. What's awesome about it is that is the easiest reason to touch your database ever, right? We call and we just say, hey, it's Scott calling with the Sue Adler Team, Callaway and Realty. They say, oh, hi, how are you? Great. Hey, I just want to let you know, I'm not sure if you've seen it, we're running a program called the 100th Home Sale Charity Program where we're donating $20,000 to 6 local charities. Here are the 6 local charities that are in it. People say, 90% of the time, say, oh my God, I love Imagine, or I love Summit Speech School, or I love whatever it is. They say, great. Hey, you can make a difference. Go to our website, sueadler.com/100home, place your vote once a day, and you'll influence who gets $10,000. We have like a little breakdown. And it makes it super simple, and it's like
so easy.
Yeah.
So easy, man.
And people love it. So I agree. We give value, and then we ask for value back. So we give that. We throw client events that a lot of people, we get 200-300 people to come to, and then asking for referrals easy because we're giving them a free pie, or we're giving their kid a free pumpkin that they can paint and decorate with the grilled cheese truck at the local farm, or whatever it is, right? And then the referrals just come in. People walk up to you, they're like, oh my God, I know my friend wants to move, and I told them to talk to you. So you don't even have to ask anymore, it just comes.
It's all just engagement, right?
All just engagement.
Pick up your phone, open your mouth, say hello, right?
Yeah, and if you're nervous about it, think about like random, it doesn't even have to be your thing. Like if you just call and say, hey, I know you live in XYZ town, and I wanted you to know that there's this awesome fair that my family loves going to, and I wanted to let you guys know in case you've never been. That's engagement, right? Like, if they say, oh, I go there too, it's like, wow, isn't that so awesome? And if they don't go there, then they're like, wow, thank you so much. I really like pie. That sounds great.
Right. Now that we're talking about database, Scott, can I ask you, if I come to your team, are you going to ask me for my database?
Yeah, so to me, again, the value of joining the team is that I'm going to help you grow. So I need access to your database, and I need your database to fold into our world so we can get the most out of your database, which most solo agents aren't getting anything out of their database. So it's a win-win for everybody, in my opinion.
What if I tell you that I don't have a database, or I can hand you over 25 people?
So day one on my team, you build a 100-person to your list, there's your database. Fine.
Jeff, I think you kind of talked about database.
Yeah, let me just add one thing regarding, because if you get a younger agent, you get a couple younger guys on your team, 22, 23 years old, newly licensed. I don't really know anyone, right? Or they're all 23-year-old, friends. A couple things you can do. One is you can go in your Facebook account, and you can download all of your friends, whatever their profiles are. So if you have 1,000 friends, you'll get their name, address, or name, email address, their profile that matches. So you can export that immediately. You can also go to LinkedIn as well, the connections there, export all that out. You can go on your phone, and there's an app called Contact to Excel, and you can then Excel every single person on your phone. So if you have 4,000 phone numbers in here, you can export that out as well. That becomes a database immediately.
Easy, right?
Yeah. Now, what I did, remember in 1992, there was no internet, there was nothing, right? My database was my high school yearbook. That was my database, but it was for the parents. So I had all the kids I went to high school with, and I just started calling the parents, letting them know in real estate at 19 years old. So my first 2 listings was a girl at the high school with her dad on the second home, and I actually, lucky enough, I actually doubled into it. It's my first deal.
Awesome.
And I just called the parents.
Yeah, guys, you called the yearbook.
The yearbook.
Oh man, that's awesome.
And then we did the white pages. And then that next database we used to do, and when you didn't have one, was, all right, who do I call? We used to right through 399, 609 area code, 399 1000, 399 1001. We just dial random white pages, like just, I'm going to call
The thing is, it's like,
the neighborhood.
you hear there's not enough leads. I remember, like, I didn't have a Mojo dialer 3 years ago. Like, I didn't even hear this thing. It was like, I remember being at my old company, and it was like, okay, this house expired. Okay, cool, let me get the phone book. Where's it? Google them, like, and then like it's the wrong number. After an hour of work, it's the wrong number, right? That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, database. Talk to me, please.
So when I got into the business, I actually did what Jeff just said about the yearbook. I was 21 or so, and I went through 2 high school yearbooks. You know, and I went through my college list, and Facebook was new at the time, so kind of just started to build a database there, and just started to reach out to people. And mine was more or less on the yearbook side of things. It was more or less a mailing list.
Got it.
And I started with the Brian Buffini program. So that's what really made me build that database out. And you know, then I started to gather the phone numbers and just call my friends, and to the point to where like I haven't talked to one of my database contacts in quite a while. And I called him, like, oh, we making database calls. So like he knew, you know, that he just real estate's on top of his head when I call him, which kind of a good thing and a bad thing, because maybe I overdid it over the years a little bit.
No way. You did the right thing.
In here, you know, and so then the focus of the conversation started to shift, as what Jeff said was, you know, how you doing? I haven't talked to you in a while, you know, having kids and digging a little bit deeper and connecting and saying, oh, I saw you did this on Facebook and whatnot. So it's a lot, you can see into somebody's life like a lot more now than you could back then.
Isn't it nice getting into a relationship with the people that you care about also?
Yeah.
Really, that's the fun part, right?
Yeah, that's what it's all about. And that's why, like, I think to myself, and I'm like, why am I calling the expires myself? I don't like doing it. So I'd rather call my database and get referrals and feed my team.
The guy or gal that you sold a house to 5 years ago, ring, you pick up the phone, you say, hey, it's Dan Mauz, what do they say?
Hey, what's up? How you doing?
Dude, what's up? Like, it's a nice phone call, right? Not like, you're my 50th call. Like, right? We don't get stop calling, do not call this.
I just sent out a couple text messages earlier, you know, some people 7-year house anniversary, and hey, happy 7 years, finally get to start paying some principal down now. You know?
It's awesome. So you guys, we get away from our database, and that's how we all built our businesses. Think about it. Like, we're all looking for something else to do, and it's all right there. It's your next door neighbors, it's your people you went to high school with, college, all these things. It's easy, man. Just get in a relationship and talk to them and care. Come from contribution. I heard here. So this is something that I say constantly, and I'll say like, I'm new. We just opened up in Orange County, California. I'm brand new. I don't know anyone. Every single person I meet, hey man, I need a contractor. Hey, how can I help you? What's the best referral for you? Oh, you're a plumber? Cool. I'm going to add you to my database and make sure I can send you business. And I'm actually trying to send all these people business and provide them value. So come from contribution and actually care. Don't pick up the phone like, oh man, I got to make my calls. You should want to do it. You should want to engage with people and ask them how their lives are going. Russ, database.
Yeah, it's super important. And to that point, you know, you want to be interacting with people that you like, right? You can choose who you work with, right? So you can choose who you're going to speak to and who you're going to interact with, and that's the beauty of building the database, is that ultimately the people that you're calling are people that hopefully that you know, and you get to the point with the people that you know, and you've been fostering those relationships over time, and it's great. Well, before I came to KW, I was nowhere near as purposeful with my database, you know, as I am now. I didn't, you know, I read the Red Book, you know, just before I sort of came over to KW and started putting some of those things into practice, and really, okay, well, who are my core advocates, right? How often am I really speaking to them? Am I speaking to them?
You call them VIPs.
Right, exactly. You know, and it's so important. I mean, you'll hear that referred to a lot as your data bank, right? I mean, that's where all the money is. That's really the asset that you're building, is your database. If you ever, you know, beyond 7th level, if you ever wanted to even look to monetize your business, that's a way that you can do it. Sell your database, as long as it's being touched in a way that is very systematic, that someone else can pick up and run with. So if you're at the beginning of the stage and what do I do with the database, just pick one. You know, log every single phone call or communication that you're having with somebody so that you can easily refer back to it, and you can start to do all the things that all these guys are implementing. By the way, I was taking some notes myself as you guys are talking about some of the things that you do. I just did it, and it's great, right? We're all in this business. We're entrepreneurs to some degree, right? And we like to be creative, and you know, Gary will always say, model then create, right? So take the model, which is learning and keeping track of all these people and all the data, and then get creative in how you want to touch it.
That's awesome. By the way, we're getting a lot of really awesome. We're getting a lot of really awesome nuggets here. This is being live streamed, so if you think you missed something, you didn't. You can go back and check it out. I mean, there's stuff. You guys are all blowing my mind. I'm like, oh my god, I have so much to do. God, okay, I gotta go back. Jeff, I'm gonna come back to you, man. So I want you. Can you just tell me a little bit about how you rate your database? You said VIP. I heard you say double A, B, whatever. Like how do those people get those ratings? And how can I be a VIP in your database? And how do you treat me?
Yeah, you're gonna get a call every single month. And there's just somebody, we look at it this way.
Who is a VIP? Like, how do they get into that category?
So typically it's somebody that you know, you're in a relationship with you, like they love you, trust you, they you know that they're going to give you business, like you just know it. They're a VIP team, right? It may not be somebody you're in business with.
They fly in the front of the plane, right?
Yeah, sure. Like it may just be another business person in the local community or somebody. Maybe help them out or whatever, but you just know you can get a deal from them. And if you have 150 of those, and you think you can get at least one deal out of each one of them a year, it's 150 deals there. Or at least one referral. But ultimately, if you're going to call them once a month with value, over time, hope you're going to get a lot of referrals and a lot of deals out of them and do business with them as well. So that's the VIP. Next 60 days, the double A client, there's someone that you know, like, trust them. You may not get a deal from them a lot, but you know that they're advocates for you. All right? But you want to stay in touch with them every 60 days. They're probably that they already own a property, probably do business with them. The A client is every 90 days, once a quarter. You stay in touch with them in real estate. And then the B client is somebody that you're probably not going to get business from them, but you just want to talk to them once a year, twice a year, every 6 months to let them know you're still in the business, but you're probably not going to get much. Somebody who maybe you sold and then they moved away. Out there, kind of thing. That's kind of how we look at it.
That's awesome. So it sounds like to me, and tell me if this is right, sounds like you're concentrating your efforts on your 20%.
Yeah.
Right? Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Awesome. So the really important people that really care about us, that we're going to do business with, we want to stay in front of them as often as possible.
And then in addition to that, we have a lot of, we have an Infusionsoft that we use for our email drip campaigns with triggers in them. So we're communicating to all these different databases in different ways of frequency. And then inside of those, there's triggers. And if they open up email A, they might get email B. And email B, they might get a video. If they watch email B's video, then it gets sent to email C, and it goes all the way through. So we can watch the engagement of the content of which they're clicking on, and then call them with notifications based upon the frequency of the content and the consumption of what they're doing. So, like a VIP client, we might see them come in, and in 1 month, or depends on the spread of the email drip campaign, they might go do 3 emails and watch 1 video within a period of time, and then it's gonna kind of rate them, if you will, or lead score them, and say, hey, this person just did this, and this. Raise their hand, send a notification to me or the agent, whoever the lead is connected to, and then raise their hand, and they never call them. And they call and say, hey, listen, just touching base with you, and we can even stop and say, we saw that you just watched a video about the market.
Awesome.
Right?
That's awesome.
Yeah, so there's a lot of other stuff, automation that's behind communicating the database that's running for the agents on our team to stay in touch with as well.
Technology.
Wow, yeah.
Cool. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to switch gears. This is not on it's not on the script, you guys. So everyone saw the video last week or 2 weeks ago of Gary at Inman, right? So does anyone? I'm going to leave this open-ended. Does anybody on this panel know anything about Keller Williams and technology and where it's going, or what Gary's working on this in this lab that we're hearing about? Does anybody know anything about this or can tell us about it? And also, and anyone can answer this, and also, what is technology going to look like in a year, in 2 years, in 3 years in the real estate business? Dave.
I could say this, what Jeff just talked about in terms, and I'm on your campaigns, right? And he shared his campaigns with me years ago, thank you, on Infusionsoft. A lot of what he's talking about in terms of getting to know the person in your database digitally based on their behaviors and what they're doing is going to be a part of what we're going to have in KW, right? I don't know how much I could say besides that, but their behaviors, what they're clicking on, the type of pictures that they like, there's going to be the ability to build that, to have an automated built-out DNA for the people that are in your database. It's pretty badass what exciting that's going to look like, yeah.
else want to talk about technology or labs or any of this?
I mean, I'm not the most technology forward person in the world by any stretch. I mean, but it seems from watching him speak at the last few events and that kind of stuff that he really wants to take everything that we use already and we're paying for outside in the outside world in technology and roll it up into Kelly and KW Command and have it all be able to be right here and be able to access all of our information, all our data, have it all linked together so that you have one seamless system that's all working together that we as the agent in KW own, right? Because that's going to give us a lot more leverage in our industry, with our competitors, with our clients, for our business.
So do you guys see you can hit Kelly and say profit share and your profit share comes up now? Yeah, if you update it, you say profit share, it comes right up in Kelly. It's exciting stuff. Okay, thanks for sharing that, guys. I'm going to go back to the line. I'll start with Dave. So a lot of agents that I speak to outside the company worry about talented hires getting the experience and going out on their own. How have you kept talent on your team as they become more successful?
Dave? I think for us, it's opportunity for growth, and the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing in terms of expansion is to provide that opportunity. I know that, Branson's quote is all over our group, and a big part of our culture is, well, we want to train you well enough so that you can leave and treat you well enough so that you won't. So our culture is a huge piece of that. And we have had talent leave, and they left in tears because they had to leave for specific reasons, but they didn't want to leave the culture. So the growth opportunity with what we're doing in terms of expansion, the culture, and just the rewarding growth and creating opportunities for it to be like, why would you ever leave? Like, you want to, because now you want to go out and do this on your own. Okay, well, here, do it on your own with us. We'll back you. We have the operations. Why are you going to go build it yourself? It's right here. So just plug into that. So that's been huge for us in retention, and also building out businesses within our company. Building out opportunities, equity groups. Our agents invest in properties with us and creating passive income for them, and just creating a world where they can grow as big as they want to grow within our company without having to go and build it out and do it themselves.
Can you talk about that? So if I'm on your real estate team and I'm showing up and I'm adding value, how do I invest in properties with Dave DeVoe and the Dave DeVoe Group?
Just give me your money. No, if we have an opportunity, we do a lot of development and investing and stuff. So if we have an opportunity to raise, where we're going to raise capital, we go to our group first. So we'll go to our agents first and say, minimum investment is $10,000, and we'll build out a performance based on the actual investment. The second place we go to is our market centers, and some of the top 20% of market centers. It's been pretty awesome so far.
That's awesome. Thank you. Scott, you want to talk about people leaving and not leaving and talent sticking around?
Yeah, so I think similarly, I mean, if you have a bunch of people and you don't train them to do well and to have the ability to go out on their own, then what do you really have? You just have a bunch of kind of nobody, right? So I think that you have to train them to be able to go out on their own. But I also think, like Dave said, it's about providing opportunities. So that's why our concept isn't leads, right? I see a lot of teams that struggle because they provide leads and that's their core value. And the second that an agent doesn't get the amount of leads that they want, they say, well, I don't want to work here anymore because you promised me 50 and I got 30, and that's not what our deal was. So, for me, it's the coaching, the accountability, and the growth. And so, if you provide all three, then nobody should ever want to leave for the same reasons, just providing opportunities. And I also think that what I aim to develop in our system is that if somebody has an idea for growth or for an opportunity that they have, I want them to bring that in so we can figure out how to do that together. Cool. You want to buy investment properties? How can we do that together? How can we make that bigger and better for you? You want to tackle a new territory that we currently don't handle? Awesome. Let's figure out what that looks like. What is that? I actually there's a woman on our team who is thinking in the next 5 years about moving down into this area. So that was a big conversation. She's like, I don't want to leave the team. I want to take the team there. Cool. Let's figure out what that looks like. Let's see, who do we need to know? And obviously, Joe, Sue's my first goal. And what do I need to know about the marketplace? What do I need to know about, how things are done down here, and how can we start to get into that marketplace? So, that's the I keep good talent.
That's awesome. Thank you, Jeff.
I think you got to have a career path for someone. For our team, it isn't that they're just going to be a real estate agent. We want them to be a real estate agent and start thinking of becoming more of an entrepreneur and be able to spin up other additional businesses or streams of income outside of it. It starts with a big organizational chart and to show them the vision of their career growth path and what they can do. So someone can start in our team as an ISA and then go from ISA to agent maybe a location leader inside an expansion location they wanted. They become an expansion director, they become regional director. They can go all the way up to the position of CEO. They can earn their way and figure all these other ways.
Just keep taking away that ceiling, right?
Yeah, national sales director locally for the hub. There's so many different ways they can grow. So the conversation isn't that, okay, every year, well, I want to make more money on new deals. Okay, good. Well, here's the next position for you to get there. How do we replace what you're doing? And let's work and build a team around you and then show you the next level of career path you can go into. But it all starts with a big organizational chart to show them that here's the vision of the team, the growth, and then where inside of your big world does their world fit within.
Love that. Thanks so much, John. Dan.
Dave kind of hit the nail on the head for me. Kind of the same thing, minus the equity, the opportunities, and things like that at this point. And then I've learned a lot. I failed forward. My world wasn't as big at one point to include people, and helping them. And when I realized that I had lost someone, and I realized that, I need to change the way that I am and help them with their vision and really start to build out my organization, see what it's going to look like 3, 5, 10 years from now. And I'm still struggling with that, but it's a daily work. It's what I look at and try to surround myself with. I'm learning so much from these guys right now, so this is great for me.
Me too. I did this whole thing very selfishly. I just wanted to ask questions that I was wondering. I want to learn how to be a mega agent myself. Hey, Dan, can I ask you something else? Off script. So you're something I saw that kind of interested me. You had sent me an email, and I think, tell me if this is right where I saw this. On your email signature, it lists your years in real estate and your production, and then it says, it also makes a note of the years when you got purposeful. Does it ring a bell?
I think I sent you guys the
bio, right?
Yeah.
Well, in your bio, it said so you were specific to say, hey, this is my production, this year, and then it was separated. This is the year I started to be purposeful about my real estate business. Am I paraphrasing?
Yeah, what it looked like? No.
Why is it important for you to separate that and point that out? So by the way, guys, he sent me a correspondence, and I guess it was his bio, and he lists his production per year. It was kind of like a timeline, and then somewhere in the beginning, the middle of that timeline, it said, this is when I started to get purposeful, and I thought that was awesome. Do you mind talking a little bit about that?
I'm big on habits and accountability, and that's what I look at. When I hired a coach in 2009, 2010, I didn't listen to him. It took me probably a year and a half to really get it, and then my business doubled, from 2011 to 2012, and we were more purposeful about database and who we were calling and adding leverage pieces, and then it doubled from 2014 to 2015, went from 50 to 60 to over 100, and then I went through a major shift in 2016. I was partners with somebody for 8 years, and we split ways and had to rebuild. Thankfully I had enough of the database business coming in that, I was able to sustain that. And we actually did 130 units when the year before we did 108. And
awesome.
And then it went from 130 to 183. So just by adding those pieces, but that's what I look back at it. And I don't have it mapped out. I went to Jeff's office and it's mapped out. And so it's like, wow, how the heck did he do that? How did he map this out? I can't see that for myself. I need someone to really help me in building that out. And that's why I have coaches. I have 2 coaches now, and they're really helping me with it. And honestly, the year we went from 130 to 183, that was the key hire that I had lost, because my world wasn't big enough. And so now our goal is 250 units for the year. We'll probably fall shy of that, but we're at 125 year rate, and it's
Congrats, man. That's awesome. So it sounds like during that period, you kind of that's 2 of the 6 personal perspectives, right? Committing to self-mastery, right? And being learning-based. That's huge.
Yeah, I'm always that's our team's main focus. And like Dave said, I want to train them well enough to go out on their own. And my real thing is to keep them by providing that culture.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you very much. Russ, talent.
Yeah, so echoes a lot of what these guys says. I mean, the vision is such a big deal, right? You want to make sure that your vision is keeps getting pushed so that whatever the people that you're in business with and partnering with on whatever level, they're accomplishing the things that they want to accomplish within that. And then ultimately, it's inevitable people are going to leave, and usually it's a couple of reasons, right? Either you weren't able to do that, and you weren't able to provide the vision that was the right path for them. Or it is also possible that you may not have hired right in the first place, right? So which is why we put such a big emphasis on, talent and, making sure that you're constantly looking for talent. That's like, if we're talking about 20%, that's probably the top of my 20%.
Awesome. All right, well, this question was not on the script either. So a client of mine sent me a cool little article yesterday, right before he went to go see a house. This was in Orange County. This is the text I got. You guys ready to write an offer? He says, word on the street is we're on the verge of the housing apocalypse. This is the text I got yesterday. One of my partners out west, he's taking his kid out. The kid made an offer, and then I said, tell me more about this apocalypse. And then he sent me a link from Bloomberg that was out yesterday. The U.S. housing market looks headed for its worst slowdown in years. In Orange County, our inventory has doubled in the last 60 days. Half the houses on the market have price reductions. Huge average price point is $800,000. Is there going to be a shift? What's going on? Have you heard anything? Can you guys talk about that? Starting with Russ.
Yeah, sure. I mean, and as a lot of us know, right, it usually starts on the West Coast. It makes it over here. It's very interesting for me because we have a team in New York City, we have a team on Long Island, and I live in Red Bank, New Jersey, right? So and I'm always looking for investment property, right? So with that in mind, there's a lot going on in New York City. We have shifted. We are in a buyer's market in Manhattan.
When did that happen?
I would say it really showed up this spring selling season.
So 60 days ago.
Yeah, 60 to 90 days, it was really apparent that we have shifted. I mean, there's no doubt we peaked in June of 2015, and then it's kind of been just a gradual, sellers to balance, to kind of balance favoring buyers, and now we're, without a doubt, in a buyer's market, in Manhattan. With that being said, things are still trading, right? We just need to get to the number, right? It's not like a place where nothing's happening. Things are certainly trading, just the buyers have, all the leverage. On Long Island, I see it a little differently. It's still more balanced there than it is in Manhattan. And some of the stuff that I look at down here from an investment perspective, it's bidding war. So it's very interesting, how that happens. In my personal view, specifically as it relates to Manhattan, with the new tax plan, I think there's a ton of uncertainty with what people's taxes are really going to look like. Yep. And you're in that's a very high earner kind of place where it's a big deal. Am I going to drop down $3 million on a 2-bedroom apartment, right? Or am I going to rent for a couple of years and see what it's going to look like? So I think that next spring selling season, when people have reality around their taxes,
Yeah. Can you talk about the tax law? If we don't know, what are you talking about?
Yeah, just that there's been a lot of changes in the tax laws, specifically with with deductions and how much you can deduct as it relates to real estate tax and mortgage interest, etc. But one thing that's not talked about a lot as it relates to real estate, because people don't think about it that much, is there's something else called the alternative minimum tax. And I'm not an accountant, and I don't pretend to be, but just that's something that affects people that are making a lot of money, right? And I think that it's going to affect them more positively than they think it's going to. But people just don't know.
It'll show up next spring. You're saying once our taxes are done.
I think it'll show up next spring, and then next spring, if we're still in a buyer's market, there's going to be even that much more leverage, right? As if these people don't come back into the pool of buyers.
Awesome, thank you. Dan, you mind talking about this? This is all speculation, guys. By the way, we don't have a crystal ball. Disclaimer. We don't know anything. We're realtors. Relax.
These are tech conversations that are way over my head, honestly. I'm
Okay.
not so detailed on it. I will say this. I have seen that buyers in our market down in South Jersey, it's like inspections are just killing us right now. They want everything done, and they don't want to negotiate it, and they just want to cancel, not even give the seller the option to take care of it.
Is that because they're fed up? There's multiple offers. They've been losing houses. Do you think the buyer pool is kind of like, you know what, we've had enough? Do you think that could be possible?
I think that's definitely a part of it.
Okay, awesome. Jeff, do you mind talking on this point?
Yeah, I mean, so, Summit, New Jersey, the Shore Market there, it's interesting. We saw a shift start in like late 2005, 06 for sure, really went down. But from 07 to like 13, 14, it kind of went really flat. So we're even still maybe in an 03, 04 market value-wise. We're not back to the 05, 06 value. No, not like a lot of the country, like up here, not at all. We're let's say peak new construction home. A unit sold for $6,775 at the height. It's that same unit maybe $650, $660, right? So there's still more growth of getting back to where it was. It's gotten a lot better, and it's become more of a seller's market, low inventory in the last 24 months. So we're not any shift we're seeing. It's more to a seller's market now, and with California and New York coming, maybe it'll just go back. But we haven't seen that big jump yet. So that's where we are now.
Right.
Philadelphia markets, I think we're starting to see a little shift there too.
It doesn't necessarily mean everything's going. Nothing bad's happening. There might just be a regular market where people start. Remember the market when you would negotiate deals? You guys remember that one? When you go back and forth and you hang up your phone. You didn't have to go, oh my God, I need pre-approval. We need to go over asking. Oh my God, and then you lose it out, and your buyer goes and blames it on you, finds another realtor, right? So there is a regular market. That could be what's happening. Scott, I'd love to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, so we're a higher end price point, like Russ's market. Our average deal is about $1 million where we are, and our market is shifting. In the high end market, specifically $2 million and above, in most of our communities, $1.5 million and above, and some of the others is slow. There's still buyers, and what they're suffering from is inventory overload. There's a lot of studies about like choices, right? Consumer choices, and there's a reason why there's only 6 flavors of jelly, because if they made 8, they'd sell less, which makes no sense, but like mathematically and scientifically it does. So I represent a lot of new construction, fortunately and unfortunately right now, and so I have 5 houses, and there's probably another 15 in that same 2.7 to 3.2 range. And so the buyer comes, they see all 17 houses, and they say, these are nice. Great. Do you like them? Yeah. Some of them. Okay. Why don't we make an offer? Wait for the price to be reduced, right? Or you get tell me when somebody makes an offer, right? You say, well, you really want to get involved in multiple? Well, just tell me. An offer gets made, then they never come back in, right? So yeah, we're seeing a shift for sure. The exciting thing though, and I think this is where it comes into, it's all about the story that you tell. So the story that we're telling is, listen, if you bought a home 5-6 years ago as your starter home, $1 million and under, the great news is the market's still really strong for you. So you're getting some of the highest values. You're still probably appreciated in value in your home. Now is the time to cash out of that home, right? Still lock in your low interest rate and buy that upgrade house that was normally unattainable for you. It was $2 million. Well, guess what? Now it's $1.8 million, right? Or $1.75 million. So let's make that upgrade now while the market is affording you that opportunity. And that gap is as small as it ever has been. And then you're going to ride it out, because our area is school district based. So a lot of families are there for 18 years, right? Or for 10 years. So lock it in. Go make that upgrade, spend some money, lock in a low interest rate, ride it out for 10 years. The market will be where the market will be in 10 years, and you're living in a home that you normally would not have been able to make that jump into. Going back to database, that's been a huge call we've been making.
Awesome. Thank you. Dave?
I know mint, grape, raspberry. What are the other jelly flavors?
Strawberry.
Strawberry. There's 2 more.
If you're eating grape, it's just weird. Come on.
I think a good person to talk to about this is James Bond Street over there, and we always have great conversations about this. He has a lot of really good insight into what's happening. I would love to hear, but my personal take is that unless history is going to rewrite itself, there's going to be a huge correction, and I can't wait.
Yeah. Okay, talk to me about that. Because I'm so scared. I already have my application into Uber. I'm going to be an Uber driver. So I'm so scared right now. Why are you excited?
Because it's a huge opportunity. The number of realtors who will not renew their license, there's a huge opportunity. And we know how to lead generate, right? I got into the market in 2009. So I know how to work with expireds. I know how to educate people on how to price their homes properly, and we know how to train our agents on how to do the same. So we're going to continue to do what we're doing. We're going to take more territory. We're going to have less competition. We're going to watch this thing crash through the floor and buy every property and every team and every business that we can. I look at it as a huge opportunity.
Did you hear that, Gary Mawson? We're gonna buy everything.
So I think something, and I know Sue was with Gary, and I think you were there when he was talking about it. He says that in the real estate business, we're all so obsessed with like growing year over year. Like if you didn't double your production, then like you're a complete failure. And he said like stop. Look at like big Fortune 500 companies, right? They have great years and they have crappy years, but they're all part of like this overall strategy. And in real estate, we're so obsessed with like that next month, the next year, or the next quarter, right? It has to be bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And the reality is that, like what you said, like when the market shifts, your business might naturally go down. However, it boomerangs back up when the market comes back, right? So if you're taking in doubling down on your market share, and the market share that you're doubling down on still isn't getting you back to where you were in the peak of it, but when the market comes back, you're going to be quadruple what you were, right? So I think it's
Stabilization, right? That's what you talk about. It's like every business has to have a period of stabilization, and we're not cool with that as realtors usually.
Yeah, I know exactly how you feel.
So, I heard this somewhere, I read this somewhere. Can someone explain this to me? It says, in a shift, if that's what's going to happen, the market share that you gain is the market share that you keep. What does that mean? Can someone answer that?
Yeah, I can. I've been through a lot of shifts. I'm old school here. Yeah,
I
so
appreciate you, Jeff.
yeah, I mean, we maintain a level of flat business during that time, and I felt that flat business or was a gain because we probably got to about 11-12% market share in our market at one time, and yet our number of transactions didn't go up. Everyone else's went out of business. So a level of market and market share we took was actually a win, with us.
That's awesome.
And then from there we've been able to grow and then continue to go from there. But you become so much more valuable. Like right now, anybody will list or sell in a moving market with their uncle, cousin, brand new licensee, and how many times a movie car passed by and say, "Oh, I'm listing with my cousin."
hairdresser just listed my house,
yeah, I just got his license, and I'm like, what? Like really? But in the shipping market, ultimately they're calling you and they need you, and you're much more valuable at that point.
And sometimes in the shipping market, they might not list with you, but that house could expire too. Would I keep my eye on that house and maybe call them in 4 months, see how it's going?
100%, yeah. We've always dominated expired listings, and especially in that market. Shipping.
It's fun the third time, right? Then it's really going to sell. And then they listen to you, right?
And what happens too is when the market shifts and the kind of fly-by-night agents get out of the business, when you're the shining star, the clients start calling you when their listings expire, like before they're about to expire. And just in the past 2 months, we've taken more people who have reached us and say, we're not happy with our agent, we want to join you, you're the professional, we're going to give an unconditional release. Like they're exiting 3 months before their agreements even end and just getting out of it and coming over, we're helping them get their home sold. So that starts to happen too.
Mike with 0 Zillow reviews, 0 past sales, got the listing, doesn't have the listing anymore, right? Cool, awesome. We're going to do a couple more questions, and we're going to do a Q&A. This has been awesome, guys. Thank you again. Again, you guys getting some value out of this? Yeah, awesome. Cool. So, by a show of hands on this panel, who has been on a listing appointment this year? Wait a minute. You guys are in the business? Is that crazy? So, guys, everybody here is in the business, okay? I would like to talk about that because our company wrote a book about it, right? The 7th Level Realtor. And you guys are really successful. I know for a fact everyone here does not have to go on a listing appointment. Can you talk to me about being in the business versus being on a team and things like that? Because it's really glamorized getting out of the business thing. And I don't know, I like being in the business. Will you talk about it?
Sure. It's interesting. Sometimes I'll be on that listing appointment, quite honestly, and I'll say to myself, what am I doing here right now? Honestly, and I say that just because where is my time best spent for the business, right? And like I say, for me, my time is best spent, like I said, on talent, right? I'm in those appointments all the time. On talent, on business development, which is why I'm on listing appointments sometimes, right? And in talking to the key accounts. But it's just like with anything else, you want to hire better than you, right? So if you're in a position where you have somebody better than you, then awesome, then do it. If not, you're a business owner, right? You have to get in there and do what needs to be done, for the business. So sometimes it's a listing appointment, sometimes it's, I was out, the other day for the first time in a long time with a very high-end buyer because I felt that that was the right thing to do by the business for me to be there. So, you know, if this is something that we're growing and that you're going to grow, and it's important that you foster that and you help out and get in there wherever it is that you have to. Sure, the dream, right, is the 7th level where you're you're at a beach club in Seabright and you're hanging out and that's it. You know, and sometimes that's reality, but certainly not every day.
Well, it's your business, right? So if everyone shows up sick and you have a restaurant and the bathroom's dirty, you're going to clean the bathroom?
You have no choice.
Yeah, you got to do it, right? Dan, you want to talk about that? Being in the business versus out, things like that?
Yeah, it's the same thing as, you know, as I grow, I'm finding it harder and harder to follow my schedule and really stay disciplined on where I need to be and where my time is best spent. And I feel the same way. There are some appointments where I'm like, why am I here? You know, if someone wants to meet at night and I need to be home or I need to be here, and I'm like, you know what, I really need to get that key person, that key hire in place. So, you know, for me right now, I have to be in the business. I'm working on leveraging that out though. I'm working on finding the right person that can really take it and is better than me and run with it.
You're in no rush to get out of business.
That rush is gaining momentum.
That's awesome.
It's definitely gaining momentum now.
Jeff, you've been doing this for a long time. Yeah, tell us about still being in the business.
Yeah, I mean, so I have a listing partner that takes, you know, 95% of the listings so I don't physically go on a lot of listing appointments much anymore. I do some things, I'll go within when need be. You know, I went to Business Mastery, if anybody hasn't gone there, Tony Robbins, and you guys are just there. You know, it talks about either you're an operator or an owner, and there's a big difference. It's kind of like if you're a business owner versus having a job. That was a big shift for me when I went there regarding that. So I was able to find that right hire to replace my production. His goal is 10 listings taken a month, 10 under contract. So you do 100, his goal is 115 sides this year. So he's doing a great job, and his goal is 12. He's pushing 12 this month. I think he's at 8 or so, maybe. You know, as of today, 9 at 8. So I mean, you know, you can find that person. I will still go on a listing. Like I had a sent to you a 24 unit package of a property of 24 units for 3.5 that a client slash, you know, COI called me up directly and said, hey, I want you to list all 24 as a package. And this type of specialty type, you know, or high end where someone really wants to be involved, and I can, you know, I'll do this thing. I'll still go. But the day-to-day listing appointments, the listing appointments I'm going are for listing people.
Right.
The talent side. That's
I love that.
that.
So those are your listing appointments, that are the talent appointments, attracting talent, things like that.
Yeah, a lot of calls over the phone. Listing would be as a talent consultation.
Okay.
You know, like,
Awesome. Scott, what about you, man?
Yeah, so I mean, most of my appointments are for new construction. That's what I really.
And what about? We'd love to hear about like Sue. Like, what's Sue's involvement?
Yeah, so Sue does still list houses, unbelievably. It's probably been 5 years from talking about not doing it anymore, but she always seems to find her way back. I think that at the end of the day, kind of like what you said, she likes it. Like Sue was an agent, didn't really plan to build a huge, gigantic business, and it sort of snowballed. And now she's purposeful about it, but it came from really she likes the business. She's doing it for a really long time, and she really enjoys listing houses. She jokes it's like a drug, right? She says, I know it's really bad for me, and I know I shouldn't do it, and yet every time I do it, it's awesome, and I just like, you know, she just lives off of that. So for her, you know, I think it's she fantasizes about, you know, bringing in all these really amazing people and having them do it. I think that we will get there, and yet I think for her it has to be that natural progression outward when the time is ready. And her friends give her crap for it all the time. You know, I think they'd have been like, why are you listening to houses still? And she's got better. She's raised her price point. She's just really focusing on a couple towns, and the rest of it, we have a lead listing partner too, Lori, and she's amazing. So they're about 50-50 now in the business on the list side, so she'll take about 50, and Lori will take about the other 50. This year it may edge a little bit towards Lori. So it's like a slow progression now for her.
Awesome. Dave, you went on a listing appointment?
Yeah.
When?
A couple months ago.
Okay. Why are you still doing that?
I went on that one because it was a past client who was going to list with Redfin, and I was not going to let that happen. So we sold it. We just closed actually yesterday. Awesome. There's two pieces to this for me, really. The first is that I'm building a business. I know what I want to do with this business, and I'll do whatever it takes to get it there. And the simple fact is that the majority of the profit of my company right now is going back into building out an operation that can sustain where we're going to be in 2 years. So when you're hiring ahead and you're building ahead for where you want to be 2-3 years from now, the challenge with that is that your revenue now doesn't always support that. So me still being in production allows me to be able to build it that way. And the second part of it is that I've leveraged out a lot of my past client database to my team. I'm still trying to figure out the best way to optimize that transition. Is it piece it out as it comes along, or is it to find that rock star guy or girl who's going to take over my book of business and not just service it? Because if I was servicing it the right way, it would be $80 to $90 million in production, but also grow it and continue to grow it. And I haven't found that person hasn't shown up in front of me yet. When they do, I'm done.
Got it. All right, awesome. Dave, I love how you said whatever it takes, right? Have a goal, whatever it takes. You'll clean the bathroom, right, when everyone calls out sick? Right? Hell yeah. Okay, good. So I'm going to do one more question, then we're going to open it up to Q&A. Just going to go down the line. I'll start with Dave. Dave, where are you going to be in 5 years? Where's your organization going to be, and what are you going to be doing that may not be real estate related?
I'll be in Fiji.
Nice.
So in 5 years, we're going to be at 2,500 transactions per year. We will have 60 teams at that time. And outside of real estate, continue to grow my portfolio for investment properties and continue to grow the private lending company. And I'll be doing my one thing, which is music. So that's the reason I'm doing this all.
That's awesome. You guys, you see how quickly he answered that question? He knows what his goals are 5 years out. He did not, he said it with conviction, he didn't have to think about it. So now I give you, anyone who didn't know it, I'll give you a few minutes. Scott, 5 years.
Yeah, so 5 years from now we'll be doing over $1 billion in a calendar year. That's going to be with 6 locations though. So our mindset is really deep in specific locations where we think we can pull the value out. Additionally, we're going to get into new development here very shortly, and add on title and a mortgage company, and we'll be rock and roll.
If you look at like our org chart, the way that everything's being built out, so 5 years from now we'll have 60 expansion partners in 3 different regions. My 8-year plan is to be living in both Southern California and Southern New Jersey, working both 6 months there, 6 months here, bi-coastal. So that's the longer term goal. And but ultimately have an expansion business, expansion teams in Southern California as well.
Be neighbors.
The real estate.
You were there recently, right? Did I see that? Or was that a while ago?
Yes, I'll be in Beverly Hills I'll be August 10th.
Awesome.
I was in Orange County in February, March. Yeah.
I've been stalking you for a while.
Yeah.
Now we're done.
I was in it now. Yeah.
Dan, 5 years.
My mind is blown with what I just started down the line here. So nowhere near detailed as that. 5 years from now, I do want to be leading the team and out of listing and selling. And I want to be in coaching. I think I have a very strong passion for helping people achieve their goals. So it's something that I really want to get into. And that's really as far as I'm thinking. I got to build this thing out, so I just realized I got to really get purposeful about it.
It's awesome, man. I remember did an panel with Dave, and the question was like production. He's like, I sold 5 billion houses. I was like, I did 80. Like, mine was the next one down the line. I was like, I did it. I'll just leave right now. Russ, 5 years.
So in 15 years from now, I really want to have $1 billion of passive income that I know that I'm going to wake up every day and that's going to be there. And so in 5 years from now, I want to have all all the areas in my life lined up sort of to get there, and I see that happening through a lot of ventures that I've already sort of started, and a lot more of it being continued real estate investment. The team, I think, will have multiple expansions. Exactly how many, I don't know yet, but I do want our New York City team to be one of the top 5 teams in Manhattan in the resale business, because I believe that no one truly is running the type of model that Keller Williams sort of coaches and trains us to, and I think there's so much opportunity. And in my marketplace in particular, because the price point's so high, I feel like there's so much complacency with agents there that they can make $500,000 like that. I mean, the entry price point is
It's about volume, not units, right? It's about volume, not units, right?
Right, exactly. And if you have a unit-based focus and you apply, some of the transaction counts that some of these guys up here are doing, or elsewhere in the country, it's super achievable. So I'm very excited about that prospect.
That's awesome. Thanks, guys. All right, everybody, we're going to move to Q&A. Does anyone have any questions for these awesome panelists?
I have a question for Dave. And he said how much of a culture is really big in your business. And with your expansion, how do you maintain culture in all of your expansion partners, being that they are not connected to you as far as physically?
So the way we built our expansion is the 8-block model. So everything's all of our expansion teams are within 50 miles of the hub, except for the one that's in California. But so I'm able to be where I need to be. So that's been helpful in growing this. But it's a good question, because it was the hardest thing for me to learn, is to keep that culture going and manage from afar and leverage out the right way. And I think that it starts with the way that we hire, and we follow career visioning, and we're really digging in deep to make sure that the people that we're hiring are going to get it, that our culture, our values, and our mission resonates with them in some way as well. It doesn't have to be identical, so that we know when we're saying all these weird things that we talk about and we're building this culture, we know right from the start that they're going to be somebody who not only gets it but also builds it with us. And then we have our groups, our communication groups. We have a daily call that's called Revive at 11 o'clock every day that I lead, and it's a mindset call that when they get done with their lead generation, we're going to revive, we're going to talk about mindset and get you through powerfully through the rest of the day. So things like that have been helpful.
Thanks, Dave. Anyone else questions?
I want to thank Joanne. Awesome for having all you guys up here, and thank all of you guys so much. So my situation is kind of funny. I called Linda the other day, who actually helps my business double. She's amazing. Keller Williams has been great, but I carry a large listing inventory because I'm the listing agent for a builder, so I have about 100 listings, 101 listings right now. And I said to Linda the other day, after being really tired, I'm like, maybe I should call Lance Lugan or Sue Adler and decide if I should have someone merge my team with someone, because I'm not a great business manager. I'm not a great business owner. Keller Williams has brought me so far, and I'm so thankful. But I have one assistant, I carry a large listing inventory, and and Linda's like, you need a coach. That's probably super important, and I know that. But
Shotgun, by the way.
what's that?
Call shotgun later.
She mentioned Sue Adler, so
Sorry, I love Jeff. He knows that. He's helped me a lot. But so the thing is, we have all these listings. We have a rock star buyer's agent who works part-time, who sells a ton of listings. But she needs to give up her side job. But it's like, we're like basically a 4-man show, and we have all these listings, and I can't figure out how do I get the buyers for this 100 listings? Like, how do I hire somebody who can get my listings out to where I'm generating my own buyer leads? No doubt we're selling things. And then my assistant's awesome, but how do I get her to a mindset of where you are, Scott, like an director of operations, like to where she understands that my team needs to go to the next level, and I'm not a great business owner. unfortunate. I will list everything left, right. I have great connections, but I'm not a business mindset person like Jeff Quintin or like you, Scott. So what would you suggest?
So the suggestion of getting a coach, you should do that. But I think that, so you have a part-time agent, you should get a full-time agent. And if she's not willing to become a full-time agent, then she just isn't the right fit, sorry. Or keep her on, but you need to add another one on, right? And I think that in terms of my role, and I get asked this question a lot, why do I mean, I treat the business like it's my own, and I've gotten to a point now where that's partially true. But when it started, it wasn't, and I still treated it the same way. And it was because I was invested in the growth of the business, right? So as we did better, I did better. So that was naturally attractive to me and my personality. I knew that I could accomplish the things I wanted to within the world that we had. And I got the ability to do that on my own and kind of come up with it. And of course, it's a partnership, and that's honestly what I love most about it is that it is a partnership, and that Sue and I can roll ideas off each other. I'll go to Sue's house, we'll have a conversation about something, we'll put something to action. But ultimately, I benefit from the growth of the business, and I think that maybe that's a piece that you're missing. I'm not sure. I mean, I think that's a huge opportunity with the listings that you have, or maybe the person's just not the right fit for the role, and I think that that's a really tough thing to come to. But I'll share an example. We've had 3 assistants. I've been with Sue for 8 years. We've had 3 assistants over those 8 years. Every time that the first one was there for like a year and then she left, but we had one who was like our rock, right? And when she left, we kind of sat there and said, well, our business, like, this is impossible for this to happen. The person who came in afterwards was able to take us to that next level. That person A, no fault of her own, she's an amazing person, just would never have been able to take us there. So we've always found that when we think we can't lose somebody's indispensable, the person that replaces that person is so much better and bigger and thinks bigger and has this other level of business. So I think it's a little bit of risk taking. You just have to kind of jump off the ledge and see what the other side looks like. And I'm willing to bet that it's going to rise and that you're going to see good things come out of it.
Can I comment on that as well? Just what you said was absolutely true. Anybody is one hire away from your life being amazing. And luckily, if you're not that type of business owner, well, I would change your language around that. But also, Keller Williams has career visioning, which does this for you. So I would take that multiple times. And then if this person is not your director of operations, somebody like Scott, go find the person who is and have them do it.
So help me understand. So you have 100 listings and it's like a community, or it's a... And so when you put up listings, how many buyers per listing do you get? Right. So I think you know the steps. You just have to put it into, this is coaching, right? So you're
We have to move on to another question, but absolutely, yeah. Did you get a coach? Or did you say you were getting one? Yeah, that's the next step, is a match coach. And these guys are all awesome. I'm sure you can reach out. I mean, I know these guys because I reached out to them at a certain point. I can't believe they took my phone call, but they did. And these guys are all come from contribution, right, guys? We have a few minutes left, so we're just going to move on. Is that okay? Okay, awesome.
Hi everybody, I know a bunch of you out there, but Pam Pounds from Hoboken. And my question is, I've been in the business about 5 years now. I run a referral and network business, and so I'm having trouble figuring out what my next step is, because I don't necessarily feel comfortable referring these people out, because I'm not sure how do you have quality control as you grow your agency, feel comfortable enough to give out your family, your friends, your past clients, the people who really trust and love the service that you give.
I think that there's a big misconception out there about this in general, right? And people feel, well, first of all, as real estate agents, we're all control freaks to some degree, right? So that goes without saying. So the next step is we all think at some point that the clients are relying on us, specifically us, but they're not. What they're really relying on is the standard that we represent. So the key is when you're hiring people, hire slow, follow career visioning, take the time. Time is your friend when you're hiring people. You'll see things show up, you'll see how they react. I mean, there's the process of actually being with them, and that's depending upon the candidate, could be 3 to 10 hours you're spending with this person. But the time in between, you can learn as much as the time that you're with them. So I would say hire slowly, really, really hold to the standard that you want when you're going through that process, and I think you'll be relieved and alleviated from that issue.
100% agree. I think the career visioning, I know people complain that it's slow, and yet you find out the most in the slowness, not in the actual time to spend with the person, just the way they react to certain situations.
We have time for 2 more questions. We'll do 1 and 2.
Thank you, Jim. How you doing, guys? Bill Boswell, Mountain Lakes. My question is really, first of all, thank you all for sharing today. I recently brought a team over from another company, competitor called Vancouver. This is just an awesome forum. Database, do you have a specific process, specific program that gathers all of the companies that are coming from, various online sources, individuals who use a hometown platform? You have a person there who's responsible for constantly feeding that information into that database that seems to be a disconnect in our end. We're constantly trying to gather information there. Question about your database. Well, not necessarily how to feed it, what's the mechanism? Not necessarily how to feed it, but what's the mechanism as these feeds are coming in from various areas to get them into the system? Is it automated? Do you have people focusing on that? What is that? Great question.
So take
I'll mention a couple things. So we have a couple different CRMs. Infusionsoft runs our, and ultimately once KW commands roll out, we'll add them all up into one. But Infusionsoft runs all of our email drip campaigns. Everything gets pushed into that. Our real estate sites is a Real Geeks website. We were on Boomtown a long time ago. Got rid of that. We're on Real Geeks websites, and there are 3 of those. And so if leads come in online, they come into Real Geeks, they push into Real Geeks, whether it's Zillow, Julie, or whatever it may be, goes in Real Geeks then pushes into Infusionsoft and launches off the campaigns in Infusionsoft. Goes in Real Geeks, tags them, round robins out the leads to an agent, and then the agent follows up. They can text them, email them, call them. That has to happen within 5 minutes, and then it gets reassigned to another agent. So there's that there. Now that's online leads coming in. Offline leads coming in, then it's the responsibility of the agents to put them in Real Geeks. And then again, it pushes the Infusionsoft for the campaigns. In addition to that, we're doing a lot of live broadcast, voice broadcasting. We have now, our coaches challenge us how do we generate 100 seller inbound leads a day. So we have 206 in one day. And that's from seller evaluations, all kinds of crazy shit. So ultimately, all these homeowners will call back. We've now outsourced that to one of our VAs in the Philippines. And her goal is to call them back, source, and make sure that inside of our database, whoever that agent's tagged to, then if someone in our database we sent this message to, she'll then put it in Real Geeks and assign it to an agent. So we have somebody on the back end side behind the scenes making sure that every inbound call that comes in is being key punched and entered into our database.
Awesome.
Yeah, we have the same VA that manages the process, but we're Boomtown customers. We use 2 as well. We use Boomtown, and the other one we use is RealVolve. And so Boomtown's for buyers and active clients. RealVolve is sellers and then past clients. That's what we delineated. And the agents are responsible for putting open houses and Sphere and all that stuff into the system. And then the VA manages the emails and kind of all the ancillary stuff that comes in and making sure information is updated. And then she also is sort of the Boomtown police, so she makes sure that there's no leads in there that haven't been touched in 30 days or that aren't on drips or aren't on e-alerts or whatever standard. We have a bunch of standards that she looks at every day. And so she'll send out 10 emails a day saying, hey, who's this and what's this and what's going on here and what's going on there.
And I'll just add one other thing to keep in mind is I'm doing a webinar next Monday. If anybody wants to join, it's for free. If you write down here, the Quintin Group, Quintin, thequintingroup.com/agent. And also we're giving away there too our lead generation playbook on there too. So it's a gift for everybody being here. If you go there, just register to get that. But we're going to talk about on there about database and how and what we do, and we're going to go through a bunch of that. So that's on Monday.
Awesome. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, so it's the QuintinGroup.com/agent. Quintin spelled Quintin. The QuintinGroup.com/agent.
That's great value. Thank
Give you a
you.
free gift too for being here. Like a lead generation playbook. I love to have those. But it just shows you, if you want to master expired, here's the top things that we do. If you want to do social media, Rockstar, here's what we do to do that. So it's just a playbook. Lead generation levers, touch it, all the things that we do.
That's ridiculous. Everybody should go there. I'll be there. Thank you.
We got one more question, guys, and we're going to wrap this up.
I'm just curious, as you're talking about that you're still going on listing appointments, but it seems that for the majority of you, you're getting out of production, and that's kind of the situation that I'm in. How are you keeping yourself, when you're not going on listing appointments for a few weeks, months at a time, how are you keeping yourselves focused and still in your business? Because I find that when I go a couple of weeks without having to go on a listing appointment and somebody else takes them for me, I check out a little bit, right? What is it that you're doing to keep yourself motivated and on path to keep growing, as opposed to kind of becoming content with your not really working so much and the money keeps growing anyway?
I think it depends on what your goals are. If your goal is just to hang out, then that's awesome. You hit your goal. If my goal is to build what I'm building, then I have people, I have 4 coaches, so I have people that are going to keep me on track to do the activities that I have to do every single day in order to keep building towards that goal. So I think it's just a matter of making sure that you still have your goals in front of you and that you're continuing to drive and you know why you want to get out of production and you're becoming that person.
I think, can I touch on that real quick? So I think that one of the biggest things I hear from, especially solo agents in Keller Williams, is like, wow, you go to MegaCamp, you do all those things, there's all these huge teams, and all they want us to do is build these giant businesses. Like, that's not everyone's why, right? Like, there's plenty of people out there who are really happy selling 20 houses a year from their sphere, and they spend their budget's like 10 grand a year to take people to a couple really nice dinners and some nice bottles of wine, right? They make $500,000 a year and they go home at night, and they can see their kids, they work 9 to 5, and they don't work Saturdays or Sundays, and like life is great. That's okay, right? So you don't have to build a huge business like any of us have up here. I think that's such a misnomer. I think that the culture sometimes feels like it's pressuring everybody to build these giant, billion-dollar teams with 60 locations and be, all around the world. I mean, if you just want to sell 30 houses in your local marketplace and you make a really good living and that makes you happy at the end of the day and solves your big why and reaches your goals, go do that. That's awesome. Kill it.
It's awesome, Scott. Thank you.
I'll just add that, to feel plugged in, once your goal steps out of production, the goal itself should be in the people development business then, and where you can start to really coach, train, mentor your agents. And so I'm continuing to pour into them, and I'm teaching them, coaching them. I'm doing listing presentations with them. I'm role playing with them. I'm in the business. I'm just not working with a buyer or seller. I'm working with the agents to improve them. And by doing such, I still stay in it, feel like I'm still doing it. And my skills are getting better because I'm teaching. They say like the teacher gets sometimes more than the student. So that's just the role that I'm doing. So I feel connected, and it's look, I've done this a long time. So for me, I don't want to ever go on another seller with a presentation ever again. Like, that sucks. Done with that shit. Will you do it for 5%? No. I'm not. Stop.
I love that.
No. Don't ask me again. Charge 80. Right? Like that, like to get that money right out of that shit. You know what I mean? And so now it's just, for me, it's really rejuvenating or getting into the people side. More motivated there.
That's awesome. If you want to master something, teach it, right? If you have to teach it, you're probably going to get really good at it. Okay, guys, I think that's about it. Guys, thank you so much for coming. Awesome. You guys get some value. Thank you, Frank. Mauz City Media. Frank sponsored the event. That's the stage. Thanks a lot, guys.